Congressman, you are of the belief that you've signed on, I believe, to an effort in the House to essentially try to begin the process of removing the president, though not through impeachment. Is that correct?
It gives us a bunch of different tools, and so one tool, of course, is impeachment. Another tool is prosecution, which is taking place now with the appointment of the special prosecutor, which is excellent news and a good choice. But another tool is the 25th Amendment, which deals with the problem of presidential incapacity. It was adopted in the 1960s. It's been used for temporary incapacities where presidents have signed over to the vice president powers temporarily. But there's another provision, Section 4, which says that the president can be removed by a majority vote of the cabinet or a majority vote of a body to be set up by the U.S. Congress. And that body's never been set up, and so this legislation would establish that body, not for Donald Trump specifically, but just in general to have in cases of presidential incapacity caused by either mental or physical problems. So
there's a column in the New York Times by conservative columnist Ross Douthat, which we'll be talking about later, that essentially calls for this option to be exercised. But I want you to respond to this. I mean, there's part of the country that is seeing news through the lens of this is a hysteria driven by the media, that people are out to get the President of the United States. And what do you say to people who say that is massively, massively putting the cart before the horse for Democrats to be talking about ways to remove the president, impeachment, when we're 117 days in and people don't know actually what the underlying facts are?
Well, I think it is too early to make any decisions about what's going to happen. We are still in the fact-finding mode here. That's why the appointment of a special prosecutor to investigate the Russian connection in the Trump campaigns and the Trump administration's complicity with it is an excellent development today, and I think everybody can be cheering that. We also need a comprehensive 9/11-style commission outside of Congress, not controlled by either party, but just to go after the facts, because it's not just a question of whether this or that person committed a crime, but it's a question of an attack on American electoral democracy.
What's the argument now? I mean, you saw Mitch McConnell very pointedly essentially dismissing the idea of an independent commission. I think Republicans on Capitol Hill will say, look, you got the special prosecutor. Why do you need belt and suspenders? Why would you possibly need an independent commission on top of someone like Bob Mueller?
Well, it's not a question of us getting anything. A special prosecutor was appointed by the relevant DOJ official, the Deputy Attorney General, Mr. Rosenstein, because he believes that there's got to be reasonable grounds to think that there may be crimes that have been committed here. So there's a series of rules that he's got to follow, and a special counsel was appointed. And that is good news to know that the president's apparent effort, if Mr. Comey is to be believed, to interfere with that investigation has been blocked within the Department of Justice. So that's good news. But look, there was an attack on American democracy. We know from the intelligence agency's report that came to Congress and that came to the American people. And we've got to deal with the reality of that. Yeah. We know the Russians tried to interfere in the French election, in the Dutch election, and so on. You know, the internet makes us vulnerable, and we've got to figure out how this happened, what exactly happened, and how to prevent it in the future. The 25th Amendment deals with the problem of mental health, which is no laughing matter. It's a serious issue, and it deals with the problem of physical health. And again, this was adopted by the framers of the 25th Amendment back in the 1960s. And so we're just establishing the body that was called for